The child's voice pierced the humid Louisiana evening like a bell. "Please, you have to check under your motorcycles right now, 7 years old." Emma Russo stood. She faced 9 men. The entire parish whispered about the Bayou Brotherhood, bikers who'd been called outlaws for 12 years. But Emma had seen something in the parking lot of her grandfather's bait shop that afternoon, something that made her stomach twist with a sickness she couldn't name. Deputy Marshal Craig Winters, the man everyone called a hero, carefully placing something beneath their motorcycles while talking on his phone about finally cleaning up this town. Now those men were finishing their meals, completely unaware. Emma had maybe 2 minutes to decide: stay quiet and invisible or speak truth. At the head of the table, a man named mid-50s with silver-streaked dark hair tied back and a face weathered by years of riding through Louisiana's sun and storm. Around him sat his brothers, men with road names like Swamp Dog, Rue, and Cypress, each carrying stories written in new something else. Last spring, when her grandfather's truck broke down on the levee road during a flash flood, it was Rue who'd stopped, who'd worked in knee-deep water for an hour getting the engine running, who'd refused her grandfather's offer of money, saying only, "We take care of our own, down you family." Her grandfather had cried that night, not from fear, but from shame at his own prejudice. That memory flickered now as Emma watched Gator throw his head back, laughing at something Swamp Dog said. They looked so ordinary, sharing platters of Buddha and glasses of sweet tea. It made what she had to do even more terrifying. The roadhouse door felt impossibly heavy. The hinges creaked as Emma pushed it open, and conversation dimmed as pairs of eyes turned toward her. Her mouth went bone dry. "Little girl, you lost?" The voice belonged to a younger member with sleeve tattoos of cypress trees and alligators. Emma's voice came out barely above a whisper. "I need to talk to y'all." Gator leaned back in his chair, his expression careful. "You need to talk to us," Gator repeated, his Sinjun accent softening his words. "What's your name, petite?" "Emma Russo. My papa. You helped him with his truck on the levee." Recognition crossed Rue's bearded face. "I remember old blue Chevy. Your papa makes the best crab traps in the parish." Emma took a step closer than another. Her legs felt disconnected from her body. "You have to look under your bikes. Please, there's something there, something bad. I saw Deputy Marshal Winters putting it there. I heard him talking on his phone about it being time to cut the cancer out of Tobedo." The air changed instantly. Hands tensed, eyes sharpened. Gator stood slowly, his chair scraping against the worn wooden floor. "What exactly did you see, Emma?" Before she could answer, sirens screamed into the parking lot. Through the window, Emma saw 3 parish sheriff's cruisers and a black Suburban pulling in with lights flashing. And stepping out of the Suburban with a smile that made Emma's blood run cold was Deputy Marshal Craig Winters, a man who had just planted something very illegal under 9 Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Gator followed her gaze, and understanding dawned on his weathered face. "Ah," he said quietly. "So that's how they're going to play it." The door burst open, and Deputy Marshal Winters strode in with 3 parish deputies behind him. "Jacques Landry," he announced. "I have a federal warrant to search your vehicles based on credible intelligence regarding narcotics trafficking. I need you and your associates to step outside, hands visible." For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Gator spoke, his voice carrying an undertone that made even Winters hesitate. "Deputy Marshal, before we do that, I think you should know something. This young lady just came in here scared half to death to warn us that someone planted something under our motorcycles. Now, why would a 7-year-old girl risk approaching men the whole parish has taught her to fear, unless she knew for certain we were in danger?" Winter's face cycled through colors. "The child is mistaken or covering for you." "No, sir," Emma said, her voice surprising everyone by being steady. "I saw you this afternoon at Papa's bait shop. You had bags, clear bags with white powder, You were on the phone saying the Bayou Brotherhood was a stain on this town and it was time for surgery. Those were your exact words. The silence was absolute. Winter's hand moved toward his service weapon, and Emma saw something ugly and desperate flash across his face. But Gator moved with surprising speed, sweeping Emma behind him while holding up both hands peacefully. "Now hold on," Gator said firmly. "Nobody needs to do anything foolish. Deputy Marshal, I'm going to make you an offer. Let's all walk outside together. You, me, your deputies, and every person in this roadhouse who wants to witness what happens next. We'll look under those motorcycles together in plain sight with plenty of witnesses. Whatever we find, we deal with it right here, right now, before God, and I don't negotiate with criminals," Winter spat. But his hand had moved away from his weapon. The presence of witnesses of Marie with her phone, now raised and recording, had changed the equation. "Then you have nothing to worry about," Gator replied calmly. "If we're criminals with drugs under our bikes, you arrest us and you're the hero. But if this child is telling the truth, and I think we both know she is, then you've got a much bigger problem than a motorcycle club." The moment stretched thin and transparent. Finally, Winters nodded stiffly. "Fine, we'll do this your way." The strange procession of bikers, federal agents, deputies, roadhouse patrons, and one small girl who had become the pivot point upon which truth would turn. The motorcycles gleamed in their neat row. Guerre approached his bike first, a vintage Harley with custom paint that showed a water moccasin coiled around a Fleur D. He knelt slowly, making sure everyone could see, and looked underneath. His face went very still. "Someone want to hand me a phone with a camera?" he asked quietly. "Everyone's going to want to see this." Rue dropped to one knee beside him, pulling out his phone and activating the camera. "Sweet Jesus," he breathed. "Y'all seeing this?" Emma stood between Marie and her mother, who had appeared running from the Dollar General down the road. From her vantage point, she could see Rue's phone screen. There, zip-tied to the frame, were 3 clear plastic bags, each containing approximately 2 bars of white crystalline powder. But what made people gasp wasn't just the drugs. It was the evidence tags clearly visible through the plastic marked with federal case numbers and a small GPS tracker, its red light still blinking. "Those are federal evidence bags," someone whispered. Winters had gone gray. "That's impossible. Someone must have stolen them to frame me." "Frame you?" Gator stood, moving methodically down the line of motorcycles. "Those evidence tags are numbered. They can be tracked. Every bag logged out of federal evidence has a paper trail, signatures, timestamps, and I'm willing to bet when Internal Affairs pulls those records, they're going to find your name all over them." One of the younger deputies, a kid named Tibito, who'd only been on the force 2 years, had gone pale. He pulled out his phone and began photographing everything. "Deputy Marshal," he said, voice cracking, "I think we need to call the FBI field office in New Orleans right now." "You'll do no such thing," Winters snapped. "I am the ranking federal officer here, and I'm ordering you to..." "To what?" Gator interrupted. Marie pushed forward, phone still. "I've known you 20 years, Craig Winters. Your mama and my mama were in the same parish council. I watched you grow up, and I'm telling you right now in front of everyone that you've shamed your badge and shamed this parish." The tide was turning. People who'd crossed the street to avoid the bikers were now forming a protective semicircle around them. Phones recorded from every truth was being documented in real time. Deputy Thibodeau stepped between Winters. "Sir, don't make this worse, please." Emma told her story 3 times to different agents. Each time her mother held her hand, and each time Gator and his brothers sat nearby, a wall of leather and loyalty that made her feel protected rather than afraid. It was Deputy Thibodeau who found the final piece, a tablet in Winter's vehicle with detailed notes, dates, times, plans, names of other people he'd targeted. Mostly people of color, immigrants, anyone who didn't fit his vision of what Thibodeau should be. As evening deepened into night, and the crowd finally began to disperse. Emma approached Gator hesitantly. He crouched down to her level, his weathered face gentle. "You doing okay, Emma?" She nodded, though her eyes were red-rimmed. "I was so scared." "You chose to be brave anyway," Gator said softly. "Do you know how rare that is? Everyone says you're dangerous." "I know what they say," Gator replied. "People fear what they don't understand, but you didn't let fear stop you from doing what was right." Rue wandered over, his shadow falling across them. "Little sister saved our lives today." "She did," Gator agreed. "Question is, what do we do about that?" Emma looked confused. "You don't have to do anything. In our world, when someone saves your life, you owe them," Gator said. "Not money. Protection. You're part of our family now, Petite. Anyone messes with you, they mess with all of us." He pulled out a small leather bracelet with a silver. "This belonged to my daughter. She died 5 years ago in a car accident. She was about your age. She was brave like you, stood up to bullies. Always did what was right, even when it scared her." Emma's breath caught. "I can't take this. That's exactly why I want you to have it," Gator insisted, pressing it into her small hand. "Remember that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about doing what's right even when you're terrified."